however, they have also found that no matter how much sleep they allow an individual to have, if they prevent the individual from dreaming, very rapidly the individual will dissolve into psychosis. And they can actually die from that. I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Thank you. We will, first of all, once again extend to each and every one of you our deep appreciation at the co-creation of this transmission, giving us an opportunity to experience through all of you collectively and each of you individually that many more facets of the multidimensional crystal of all that is. So we thank you for the gift of sharing you are allowing us this day of your time. We would like to begin this workshop regarding changing core belief systems in the following way. You have on your planet a joke. Some of you may have heard it, but it goes something like this. How many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? And as some of you know, the answer is 1, but the light bulb has to want to change. This is very important for today's information. When dealing with core belief, the first step is you have to want to change. All the techniques, all the tools that we may share with you or have shared with you about changing beliefs will basically be lying idle on your shelf without the first and most important ingredient, the desire to change the core belief. Many of you have talked, and we have talked about the idea that you are going, euphemistically speaking, symbolically speaking in a way, from 3D to 4D, third density to fourth density. So let's take advantage of the nomenclature of 4D and present to you the basic curriculum we will be covering today, which involves 4 Ds. Desire, definition, dedication, and detachment. These are the 4 overall general elements necessary for changing core belief. Desire, definition, dedication, detachment. And we will explain each of these in depth as we go. First and foremost, understand that there is a difference between the vibrational energy of what is typically called desire, and the word you often use, want. Not quite the same thing. It can be used in the same way, but we wish to make sure it is clear that in this context, when we are talking about desire, it is something far more akin to passion and a true deep soul desire than simply the idea that you as a person may want something. The desire, the level of desire we are talking about comes from the inner soul, the inner being. That which you are so passionate about bringing into your life as a state of being, knowing yourself deeply, who you are as a consciousness, the state itself that you wish to experience your life within, the desire to be nothing else but yourself in the purest way you can be, and reaching for that in all ways that you can, in thought, in word, in deed. Desire will be, in this case, the true driving force that will allow you the energy and the power to delve deep into your belief systems, find the core beliefs, allow yourself then to, in examining them and identifying them, change them. The desire, first and foremost, must be paramount in the utilization of these techniques, paramount in your focus for examining core beliefs. The desire to change. The desire to change. Overwhelmingly, overpoweringly, passionately. The desire to change. To be who you really are. To discover that and be who you really are. Without applying the first 4 Ds of desire and definition and dedication and detachment, without those, without all 4 of them, you may give rise to a 5th D, difficulty, in changing your core beliefs. The first 4 Ds are so important in working together as a holistic system. They must all truly be present for the manifestation, for the change to occur, to be experienced in your life, in a tangible way, in a heartfelt way. So, let us, for the moment, examine one of the pages you have in your hands, not the first necessarily, not the second, but look at the lists of words, the 2 lists of words. Now, the first group of words are conditions that are required for you to survive in physical reality as a physical being. If you stop simply and take a look and think about it, you will realize how important those are. Obviously, in order to continue your existence in the physical experience, you must be born into it. You do need to continue breathing. I believe you all understand that. You all really, generally need to drink. You all generally need to eat, and all the other things, just to maintain your existence in physical reality. The second level The second group of words are words that are representative of, in a sense, functioning, so to speak, getting along in physical reality. Now, not all of them are absolutely necessary, for certainly you can get along in physical reality without your eyes, or without hearing, or a few other things, although some of them are essential in order to truly function in physical reality. If you will observe, there is actually only one word that is common to both lists, and that word is dream. You absolutely must dream due to the nature of how you have created your physical reality, and in creating the sense and experience of detachment, so to speak, or disconnection, so to speak, or limitation, so to speak, from the spirit world. In creating that experience of detachment from the spirit world, you must from time to time reconnect to it. And generally speaking, although of course we understand there are many different kinds of dreams, and many different reasons for dreaming, and many different meanings that you can give to dreams, many different representations that come from dreams, we're actually talking about the physical mechanism of dreaming that allows you as a being to expand and go into the connection of being a little bit more yourself in the spiritual level while you are still physical. This reconnection on a regular basis is critical for your actual physical survival and for your ability to function in physical reality. Many individuals on your planet, as some of you may know, have done what you call studies about dreaming and sleeping. And they have found quite correctly and realized quite correctly that you might be allowed to dream but not sleep so much. And if you don't sleep so much, you will be perhaps tired. And perhaps some of your functionality may be a little bit impaired. But as long as you are allowed to have moments of dreaming, you will still be able to continue to function more or less normally in physical reality. However, they have also found that no matter how much sleep they allow an individual to have, if they prevent the individual from dreaming, very rapidly the individual will dissolve into psychosis. And they can actually die from that. Understand the dreaming is far more critical than the sleeping itself. So, in order to actually maintain your physical existence, you must dream. In order to function in physical reality, you must dream. The reason we bring this up, and the reason we point this out in these lists, is that that is really what we're talking about also when we talk about desire. It's connected very strongly to dream. Understand that your dreams, your ability to dream, in that sense, is connected to your ability to desire, to manifest, to realize and experience in physical reality. And dreaming and desiring from the soul level, in many ways, are essentially the same thing. Because when you dream, you are creating, as we said, a reconnection, a manifestation of an experience of more of yourself, which is really what desire is all about, fundamentally. It drives you to experience more of your true holistic self. Now then, definition. We've talked many times about defining your beliefs, and definition remains Defining your beliefs remains a critical component of accessing and dealing with core beliefs. And what we are also talking about when we talk about definition is clarity of definition. Clarity of definition. Really getting down deep into exactly how your beliefs are constructed, how your definitions are put together, what components make them up, what ideas and thoughts go into it or result from it. All the factors that stem from and help to reinforce the definitions you have bought into, that you have been brought up with, that you have been spoon-fed since birth. Remember that in accepting and in choosing the idea of the physical reality experience, generally speaking, although some things are somewhat malleable, you have agreed to accept and adopt a series of ideas and concepts that, in a sense, govern physical reality, such things as gravity on your planet, electromagnetic fields, neurological impulses, so on and so forth. I am not saying these things cannot be changed by your vibration, but generally most of you agree to play along and let those things run automatically so that you can focus on other issues, instead of having to constantly, consciously think about keeping your feet on the ground. You allow yourself to simply have an automatic portion of your beingness that says, I agree that as long as I'm on physical reality Earth, gravity exists, and I won't simply go floating off into space. Although that can happen sometimes for various reasons. And we may get into that later. But the idea is that when you choose physical reality and you agree, generally, to adopt a series of conditions, one of those things has to do with the patterns that are already existing that result from the experiences of the parents you chose to be born to. So that in coming through them, to be physical, to be born physically, you will to some degree adopt some of those patterns from them. A kind of hand-me-down from them. A kind of family agreement that says, I will agree to explore with you similar themes, similar ideas that you may call patterns or experiences. Not that you will necessarily have to play them out in the same way your parents did, but you often agree to explore similar themes they went through so that you, in exploring them and coming up with a different perspective, and perhaps even a different outcome, can add to the overall soul family group's experience of all the different ways that theme can be played out in your family group. And so, you often take on yourself in being born definitions and belief systems and ideas that will result in certain kinds of patterns or schedules or things that will come up or issues that will appear in your life at certain times, often, very often, at the same times that your parents experience them in terms of the same age in your life, and you will deal with them in your own way. Those moments are opportunities for you to get in touch with what that issue, what that idea, and what that belief means to you, what meaning you choose to put in it, how you want to relate to it, and what you want to bring in terms of your learning experience in dealing with it to the soul family experience overall. So it is very important in doing that you have absolute clarity of definition of what those beliefs are that you have been handed from your parents, from society in general, or sometimes even what you may have chosen to bring through with you, just simply as something you have chosen to explore. Whether you connect it to the idea of past lives, future lives, all those things exist simultaneously. So it's really more of a cross connection to some other life going on right now, concurrently. But nevertheless, no matter how you make a relationship or how you need to explain it or set it up to yourself in order for you to have the experience and explore it.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
We have a question here from Amira and Michael.
Oh, all right.
And it has to do with your ship being over Sedona.
Yes.
Well, one thing we were wondering is, what is the significance of you being positioned over Sedona in particular?
You all already know that it is a very strong gateway, an energy vortex that taps into a multitude of dimensions. Yes?
Yes.
Therefore, it is, in that sense, like we have just described in the brain, a neutral zone that allows us better handling, a better facilitation of the energy of a multitude of dimensions in one spot. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's like having your hand squarely on the main control switch to regulate the energy in a very easy way. Whereas if we were off center from that, we would have to contend with a multitude of frequencies, a multitude of vibrations that were not correlated, that were not harmonized. But by dealing with the vortex, the center itself, then they are all within that neutral zone at the very center, all harmonized and easy to process, easy to transform from one to another, easy to redefine. Make sense?
Yeah.
Easy to recalibrate.
So basically, you take the energy and you convert it with your ship, or how do you?
The ship is like, in a sense, a lens, a prism that is the representation of the combination of the blending of my own physical mind and my higher mind, and the connection we have with my entire society and many other beings, and we run it through that frequency domain, in a sense, like a filter, like a filtration system, and then process it back out in a way that is more compatible and more conducive to allow transformation to be easier for all of you.
I see.
Thank you.
So, if I could just go on a little bit more about this.
All right, just a little bit more.
Okay. So when the decision was made to move from Cairo to here,
yes,
what precipitated that? What brought that about?
Shifts in the collective consciousness.
So were you surprised? I mean, did somebody give you orders to do it, or was it?
Well, in a sense, but that simply happens automatically within our telepathic link. It's not like there is a sergeant major that comes along and says, "Soldier, move here. Here are your marching orders." It simply happens within a collective recognition and an understanding of how we simply automatically and intuitively need to rebalance and reposition ourselves to match the new frequency. It's more of a dance.
I see. And
than something quite so military.
So are there others positioned around the planet of the Sasani society? Because I know at one point there was, you talked to us about where
there
others
are others of my society positioned around your planet. There are many from many different societies positioned at different points around your planet, forming, in a sense, a grid.
Okay. And I bet one day you'll tell us where they are, huh?
I bet one day I will.
Thank you, Bashar.
You're welcome.